We are in middle of Torah Yud Chet in Likutei Moharan, and we are in middle of part 2, Ot Bet in this Torah. This Torah is called Kartalita, the treasure chest, because it's based on a story about the treasure chest that they found in the sea. And basically, what does that story? It's a Kabbalistic story in the Gemara that we know it most certainly is not to be understood in its simple translation. There is much deeper layers of meaning going on that the Gemara wants to teach us from that story, and that's what Rabbi Nachman is showing us in this Torah. The things that are hinted to and alluded to, the deeper meaning in that story. In the Gemara, about this treasure chest of the wife of Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa that we spoke about in the first year on this Torah. But Rabbi Nachman in this Torah is explaining to us how can we connect to the experience of paradise, the experience of divine bliss, which is the final purpose of everything that Hashem created in the world. Meaning that everything that Hashem created in the universe and all the parts of the universe are all geared towards one final purpose. They may have a particular specific purpose along the way, but even that purpose that they have is only to get us to a greater purpose, and that greater purpose leads to a greater purpose. The final purpose, the end game of everything that Hashem created in the whole universe is, Rabbi Nachman calls it Sha'ashua Olam Haba, the pleasure that we will experience in the world to come, when through the preparatory phase, which is this world, like the Mishnah in Masechet Avot, the Mishnah says that this world is like the hallway. It's the preparation. That gets us to the palace, but the palace is really the purpose. The path that you take and the highway that you take and the roads that you take in order to get somewhere is only the preparation to get to that place. But the final purpose is that palace, is where we will have the pleasure of being in the presence of our dear Father of Hashem and directly experiencing that infinite bliss eternally for all of eternity. And so that's called Sha'ashua Olam Haba. And Rabbi Nachman explains that this can be experienced by those holy souls that are the leaders of the Jewish nation, those holy souls that are the leaders of the generation, those holy souls that are compared to Moshe. They are called they're called the Moshe of the generation. Each generation has these souls that are leaders of the generation, and they are the Moshe souls of the generation. They are the Mashiach souls of the generation. Moshe is synonymous with Mashiach. They are the ones that bring Geula, they bring redemption to all the other souls of the generation. They lead the other souls of the generation to their personal Geula, and they lead the whole generation collectively to the complete collective Geula, redemption of everyone, if they are so worthy. And so these souls of the tzaddikim, the Medrash, Chazal, our Chachamim explain that when Hashem created the world, Hashem ra'a b'ma'asehem shel tzaddikim. Hashem looked ahead of time, because Hashem is beyond time and space. And so Hashem, wherever Hashem is everywhere, and space is within him, and time is within him. And so Hashem can at any time, and Hashem at any point can look at any time, because Hashem is beyond, transcending time and space. Hashem is not limited by a certain time and space. Hashem right now is also before all of existence and also after all of everything that will ever happen. Hashem is right now before all of that and after all of that and within all of that equally, and saturating all of that, because all of that is within him. And so Hashem, before He created this world, the stages that led to this physical world, which are, as we know Kabbalistically, the Arizal teaches us there are thousands and thousands, not millions of stages, different worlds, and every world is a preparation for the next world. Every world is needed to be there before the next world is brought into existence, and that world is needed to be there before the world after that, until finally all the stages are completed, and then there's this physical world. All of that began at a certain point, and when Hashem began this process, first the attention that Hashem had and the purpose that Hashem had, it says that Hashem looked at the actions. He looked at the actions of those holy souls, of those Moshe souls, of those Mashiach souls, and He looked at the way that they're living their life, and the tremendous pleasure that Hashem had by seeing these souls living their life in such a way that every moment, every movement, every word, every action, every thought, every intention in their life is creating a vessel for them to experience Hashem's infinite light in a greater, deeper way. That was the fulfillment of Hashem's intention. And so when Hashem saw that ahead of time, right, as we said, that's the initial intention. That's kind of like when you're visualizing the house that you're going to build, and you're visualizing yourself sitting in the house with your family, with your wife and your children, and enjoying wonderful experiences, laughing together, jumping and playing together, and maybe sharing things with each other at the dinner table, all of that, and we're comfortable, and we're sitting, and we have the safety of our house, and so when you visualize that end result, that motivates and that allows for the whole process to happen that will get you to that end result. And so this works also spiritually. We all know the power of visualization for things to manifest. So when you visualize it clearly, that allows the whole process to get that to happen, to have that happen. And so that was the visualization, so to speak, right? Because Hashem is not limited by any of these rules, any of these laws, any of these physical laws, any of these spiritual laws, but Hashem is teaching us how to create and how to live our life. And so the way that Chazal teaches is that Hashem saw the ways of the tzaddikim, the way they live their life, and that every moment, every movement in their life is all creating the vessels to experience Hashem in a deeper, greater way, in a sweeter, more direct way. And when Hashem saw that, Hashem created the world. And so therefore that implies that these holy souls, these tzaddikim, are connected to that final purpose. They are the most connected, more than anyone else, to that final purpose. And we said the final purpose is that experience of Hashem that we will have in the world to come. And so therefore Rabbi Nachman says that to the extent that we have a part in those holy souls, that we are connected to them, and that we have within ourselves a part of their soul, and within them is a part of our souls, to a greater extent, to whatever level, to whatever measure that we have that experience of being connected to them and being part of them, and having their souls part of us, within us, that's the extent that we also have a part in the experience of the world to come already now, the experience of that final purpose already now. And how can we merit that connection? How can we merit to be included in those souls, in those tzaddikim? Rabbi Nachman says it happens through the process of sweetening anger energy with compassion energy. When we sweeten anger energy, what we are doing really is we are lifting up the Malchut. We are lifting up the Malchut of Hashem, because anger energy represents Malchut, the kingship of Hashem taken into exile. When it's taken into exile, it means that people are worshiping idols. It means that people are, on some degree, not completely believing and trusting that everything that happens is from Hashem. And that's why they can get angry. That's why when something happens that doesn't please them, they allow their anger to take over. But if a person is constantly connected to the realization and the recognition that everything that happens is from Hashem and is Hashem and within Hashem, and so then a person has the space, the inner space, the patience, the yeshuv dat, the settled mind, the inner peace to accept everything and to experience everything in a peaceful, harmonious, sweet way. That's what it means, sweetening the anger with compassion energy. That you don't allow the anger to take over. That anger taking over would imply that you believe that something happened in the universe, something happened in your reality that is not from Hashem, that is not absolutely good, and it's not from the absolute good, and it's not for the absolute good. And that's why you have a reason to be upset or to get frustrated or to get angry. But when you sweeten that with a compassion, with the inner space, with the inner peace, with the EMUNAH energy, with a belief and trust in Hashem, with a faith in Hashem, you are returning the kingship of Hashem, the crown of Hashem. You are returning it to Hashem. Instead of giving that sovereignty, that power to something in your environment, to something in your reality, instead of giving that crown to something in the outside world, in this physical reality or whatever, and therefore giving it the power to get you angry, and attributing to it a separate existence, right? Living in that belief that things have a separate existence or an entity or a power or force. Instead of that, you have now returned to the recognition that everything is Hashem. And so you have sweetened, you have returned the crown to Hashem. You have returned the malchut, the kingship, to Hashem. And that itself is how you sweeten the anger energy. That is the sweetening of the anger energy. All the anger energy in the world is only because of idol worship. It's only when the malchut is taken in exile, when the crown of Hashem was thrown away into these outside dark forces of concealment. It's concealed and removed from the king's head, so to speak. And so when you sweeten that, when you rectify that, you're sweetening the malchut, you're sweetening the judgment energy, and you're sweetening the anger energy with a compassion, and you're crowning the malchut, giving Hashem the crown. And that is, in essence, really crowning those holy, humble souls, those tzaddikim who are humble, and they have dissolved their personal illusion of separateness. They have dissolved their ego, and they no longer see themselves as a separate entity. And now they are only a part of the greater whole. They're part of Hashem. And so those holy souls that are experiencing humility, that's what humility is a dissolution of that illusion of separateness. And they, because of that, because living their life in this way, they are included in the malchut. They are included in the malchut, who is called, one of the characteristics of the kingship of Hashem, the greatness of Hashem, is that he's also humble. And the place where you find Hashem's greatness, which is called malchut, the kingship of Hashem, there you find his humility, as the Gemara teaches us. And so they are included in that humility of Hashem. They are included in that oneness of Hashem. And when you are crowning the malchut, when you're crowning Hashem, giving the malchut back to Hashem, and at the same time you are crowning those holy, humble souls, those tzaddikim. And what does that mean? What does that cause? So Rabbi Nachman explains that the anger, which is the opposite of all this, the anger energy, which comes from idol worship, which comes from a lack of belief and trust in Hashem, is what causes the wrath of Hashem to be revealed in greater ways throughout the world. And we know from the Gemara that there is a moment every day where Hashem's anger is revealed. Ki rega be'apos, says the Gemara. A moment every day that there is the wrath of Hashem, Hashem's anger, which is revealed in the world. And that's the source, that's the ultimate judgment energy, the ultimate essence of judgment energy, which is revealed once a day, one moment every day. And when it's revealed to the extent that there is idol worship in the world, at that time, that's the extent that catastrophes will happen throughout the world. And if there is a tremendous amount of idol worship in the world at that time, then terrible catastrophes can happen and will be awakened and will be set into motion because of the wrath of Hashem that is revealed at that moment every day. And that wrath of Hashem is an experience of Hashem being concealed. It's called Hester Panim, concealment of the countenance of Hashem. And that means that people experience this concealment and they say, oh, where is Hashem? How could Hashem allow for such a thing to happen? Why is Hashem not helping me? Why is Hashem not helping people? Why is Hashem not helping the world? All of these thoughts and all these feelings come from the concealment of Hashem, which is the definition of that anger. That's what the anger of Hashem is that concealment. It's the experience of that concealment. And when that is in a greater extent, in a greater level, then there are catastrophes that happen in the world, and a lot more people are feeling this. Where is Hashem? Where is Hashem found? Why is Hashem allowing this to happen? Why is Hashem not helping the situation, so to speak? But when there is less of idol worship in the world, and maybe there is only a small amount of idol worship, or maybe there's no idol worship whatsoever, but people are lacking in complete belief and trust in Hashem. And any deficiency in your belief and trust in Hashem is on some level considered idol worship, says Rabbi Nachman, because it's not complete connection with Hashem, it's not complete belief and trust in Hashem. And so on some level, that's considered idol worship. That's moving in the spectrum of belief and trust in Hashem in the direction of negativity. The direction of negativity is the direction of idol worship. And that's the extreme negative end of that spectrum is idol worship. But any time that you are moving away from complete belief and trust in Hashem towards the negative side, the negative extreme, then that weakness, that deficiency of belief, of not having complete belief and trust in Hashem, not having complete EMUNAH, is also considered on some level idol worship, even if it's a small amount of a deficiency, a small deficiency, but on some level it's considered idol worship. And so that lack of complete EMUNAH in Hashem, that lack of belief and trust in Hashem, causes this concealment of Hashem, where people experience where is Hashem, and where Hashem is not leading us in a direct way. That's what it means, the concealment. It means that we're not experiencing the guidance of Hashem, the clear guidance and leadership of Hashem, guiding the way, protecting us, right? Beautiful example of He'arat Panim, of the opposite, right? When we experience that Hashem is guiding us, leading us clearly, it's how the Bnei Israel experienced Hashem in the desert, in the Midbar. They experienced Hashem leading them every way, every moment was clear to them, right? They had Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu was telling them moment by moment what Hashem wanted from them. And they had the clouds of the Anani Akavot, the clouds of glory that is surrounding them and clearing the way for them. Any mountain that was in the way would be leveled. Any harmful animals, if there were scorpions or serpents or whatnot, they would be cleared out of the way. They would be dissolved and removed from the path of Bnei Israel. And so they were experiencing moment by moment. And on the food, they were getting food by their doorstep. The man from Shemayim, Hashem was bringing them food from heaven every morning at their doorstep. Their clothing, simlaticha lo balita, as it says in the pasuk. Their clothing never needed to replace their clothing. They were wearing the same clothing for 40 years, and it grew with them, and it shrunk with them, and it was constantly cleaned naturally, automatically. It just stayed clean, and it stayed good. It didn't get ruined in any way. And so this was moment by moment the greatest experience of Hashem, the direct experience of Hashem leading and guiding them every moment of the way. And so the opposite of that is called the concealment of Hashem. That's what it means, concealment of Hashem. When people don't experience that, or people experience that in lesser and lesser ways. And people experience more and more that it seems like to them, right, the illusion that they are the ones that have to take care of all these things, and they are the ones that have to take care of making sure they're safe and secure and they're protected, and they have to make sure of getting a livelihood and supporting themselves and finding sustenance, and they have to make sure that they take care on their own with their own physical, and they have to actions, they have to take care of their own health, and they have to take care of their family and all these things. All of that is experiencing less and less the direct guidance of Hashem, that Hashem is taking care of all of it. And so that's the difference between the He'arat Panim, Hashem shining his countenance, shining his face to us, radiating himself to us, his leadership, his guidance, that he is constantly taking care of us. We're always in Hashem's arms, like a child in his mother's arms. We're always there. We're always here in Hashem's arms. But the Ha'arat Panim is the experience that we really feel that way, and we experience it. And the concealment of Hashem's countenance, the Hester Panim, is the opposite, when we don't feel that. And we could be in Hashem's arms, but we say, where is Hashem? And so that's the experience of the anger, the wrath of Hashem, the Charon Af, and that is perpetuated, it's expressed, it's put into motion in this world through idol worship, or through lack of emunah. And what comes from that is that, just like in the Midbar, when the Bnei Israel were 40 years in the Midbar, they were led by Hashem, they were guided by Hashem every step of the way through Moshe. Moshe was the extension of that, right? Moshe was telling them step by step what Hashem is wanting from them, how Hashem, which way they should go, which way they shouldn't go, what they should do, what they shouldn't do. In the same way, today, we experience that guidance, that clear guidance of Hashem, or the lack of that guidance, through the tzaddikim, through the Moshe souls of the generations, through the Mashiach souls of the generations. And they are included in the Malchut of Hashem. The Malchut is the sphera that represents the leadership, guiding, just like a king guides the nation, leads the nation. That's the aspect of Malchut. And they are included in the Malchut, those holy, humble souls. They're included in the Malchut. They have emulated the Malchut. They have dissolved the illusion of separateness, and therefore they live in a reality. Their inner reality is in tune, in the same vibrational frequency as the Malchut. That's how they live, and they act in the same way. Their being is in alignment with the Malchut. And so they are the most worthy of leading the Bnei Israel, because they are Malchut souls. They are souls like we spoke about yesterday, David HaMelech, right? But they are only going to lead the Jewish people, they're only going to lead the generation to the extent that the Malchut of Hashem is in its rightful place, that the crown of Hashem is in rightful place, and therefore the He'arat Panim, the shining of Hashem's countenance, and Hashem guiding us in a clear, direct way, is in the right place, and it's being revealed. And then, because they are included in that light, they will naturally also, even if they're not really natural, even if they're not instinctively wanting to, maybe they're not naturally wanting to, but instinctively they will be compelled to lead the Jewish people. They will feel that they have to, even though maybe they personally they would rather sit in the Beit Midrash and learn all day, but they will feel compelled instinctively to lead the Jewish people, to lead the generation. But if there is idol worship, and therefore there's the concealment of Hashem, and the concealment of Hashem's leadership and Hashem's guidance, what comes from that is that those people, those holy, humble souls, will flee positions of authority. They will flee positions of leadership. They will not want to lead the Jewish people, or they will stay away from the honor and the respect that comes with it, and they will feel or say that the reason is because they're not worthy of it, when in truth they're not even aware that the reason is because of the anger of Hashem that's revealed in the world. Why is that? Why are they not aware that it's because of the anger of Hashem? So says Rabbi Nachman, because the anger of Hashem is only one moment every day. It's only revealed for a moment. And so it's very, very small experience. It's a tiny moment. And you have to really, really be in tune to be able to to put your finger on it, to experience, to know that this is the moment. The Gemara speaks about how hard it was to figure out when is that moment in the day, and it takes tremendous spiritual attunement and sensitivity to know exactly when is that moment of Hashem's anger in the day. When is it revealed, that essence of judgment energy? And so if that moment of anger is revealed in the day, and there's not really a lot of idol worship going on in the world, it's just a lack of complete belief and trust in Hashem. And so we said that on some level it's considered idol worship, but it's not really idol worship. And so the anger is not so great, but there is anger there. There is that judgment energy that is revealed because of the lack of our belief and trust in Hashem. And so, therefore, the tzaddikim will not, they may not pick up on the fact that the reason why they are not wanting to lead the generation right now is because there is the anger of Hashem that is being revealed, and therefore there's a hester panim, there's a concealment of Hashem in the world right now, and that's why they are also experiencing now this not wanting to lead the Jewish people, to lead the generation. That's very hard for them to pick up on, and so therefore they might just answer it and say that they don't want to lead the generation because they're not worthy of it. That's what we spoke about yesterday. And so let's see a little bit more of that in today. אבל ההשתלשלות של אחר עונף, we're in the middle of עוד ב', אבל ההשתלשלות של אחר עונף כשבא לצדיקים, אז הם מסתירים פניהם מהעולם ואינם רוצים להנהיג את העולם. Now what comes from the anger, that anger of Hashem, or that concealment of Hashem, when it reaches the tzaddikim, because we said they are included in Hashem's light, they are included in that experience of the Malchut, and so therefore that experience of concealment of Hashem is drawn to them. They also, by extension, feel that. But because it's not so great by Hashem, so it's even smaller. That experience is even less, even smaller, even less by these holy souls. And therefore, by them, all they will do is they will refuse to lead the world. They will refuse to lead the generation. ואינם רוצים להנהיג את העולם, ומחמת שחרון אף ומעט מן המעט מלחלק הרגע, על ידי זה אינם תולים הסתרת פניהם ברוגז, אלא תולים הסתרת פניהם בקטנותם, ועושים עצמם כשיריים, ואומרים שאינם רואים להנהיג העולם, או באמת גם כן הם אינם יודעים ומרגישים את החרון אף, כי הוא מעט מן המעט. He says sometimes it's so small, that anger energy, that by Hashem, that by the tzaddikim it's even smaller, and therefore they will not attribute the concealment of their faces, of them not wanting, they're refusing to lead the world and to lead the generation. They will not attribute it to the anger of Hashem that's being revealed in the world, to the concealment of Hashem that is happening right now. They will just say that it's because they feel that they're not worthy of it. They're not worthy of leading the generation. And Rabbi Nachman says, they themselves are not even knowing or recognizing that there is this anger energy, because it's so small. It's sometimes it's very, very small. It could be it's only happening, it's only influenced because of a lack of belief and trust in Hashem by that generation. וזהו כשהקטין משה את עצמו מללך למצרים ולהיות מנהיג, אמר מי אנוכי כי אלך אל פרעה, ושאר דבריו כתוב ויחר אף השם במשה, פירוש זאת הקטנה שלא רצה להיות מנהיג, זה מחמת שנשתלשל בו חרון אף השם כנ"ל. And so Rabbi Nachman gives us a beautiful example of this exact experience, where we see when Hashem wanted Moshe Rabbeinu to lead the Jewish people out of Mitzrayim. At the beginning, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to go and lead them. He refused to be their leader. What did he say to Hashem? He says, Mi anochi ki elech el Paro. Who am I that I should go to Paro? Meaning, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not worthy to go to speak to Paro on the behalf of the Jewish people. And so all of his words, all of Moshe's words at that time to Hashem were, I'm not worthy, I'm not worthy. And what did it say there? How did Hashem, it says, the response from Hashem was, Vayichar af Hashem b'Moshe. Hashem's anger burned towards Moshe. Vayichar af Hashem b'Moshe. Hashem's anger burned in Moshe, the literal translation. What does that mean? Rabbi Nachman says that the reason, this is teaching us that the reason why Moshe is refusing at this time to lead the Jewish people is because it was drawn to him from the anger of Hashem. In Moshe was drawn the anger of Hashem on some level. And that was because of the lack of EMUNAH that was in the generation at that time, in the world at that time. And because of that, it was drawn in Moshe, this concealment of Hashem, this concealment of leadership, of guidance, and this which is we're saying is the anger energy, even though he wasn't maybe aware of it, and all he was doing, he was just attributing it to his unworthiness. אז נמתק החרונם שיש בתוך הצדיקים על ידי הרחמנות, ואז הרחמנות גובר עליהם, ומרחמים על העולם, ונתרצים בהנהגתו, מקבלים על עצמן השכרה של ההנהגה, ובזאת הרחמנות הם מנהיגים את העולם מבחינת כי מרחמם מנהגם. נמצא שזאת הרחמנות היא עטרתם שמעטר אותם במידת מלכות ומנהיג. But says Rabbi Nachman that through the sweetening of that anger, when it's mitigated with compassion, within ourselves, when we sweeten that anger with compassion, so what we are doing is we are giving the crown back to Hashem. We are allowing that leadership of Hashem to take place. Even though there is a deficiency in our belief and trust in Hashem, even though there was a deficiency in our belief and trust in Hashem, or in the collective consciousness of the world, there was a lack of belief and trust in Hashem. There was idol worship even though there's all that happening, and we say that that is what anger energy is. Anger energy is synonymous with idol worship, and it's synonymous with a lack of belief and trust in Hashem. And so even though all of that was happening, and because of that, maybe that could be the reason why I had the potential, I felt the potential of anger burning up inside of me. But when I sweetened it with that inner peace, with that compassion, and I now experience compassion towards myself, towards this person that I might have wanted to react with anger, now I'm awakening compassion in its place. Compassion towards myself, compassion in this experience, in this situation, which is all about inner peace, inner space, patience, and EMUNAH. That sweetening that is happening within me is causing at the same time that anger energy and that concealment of Hashem is being rectified, and it's being turned over, and now that mask is being taken down, taken off. And so in the same way, we are affecting that the tzaddikim, those holy, humble souls that are considered malchut, they are included in the malchut of Hashem, in the leadership, in the leading and the guiding energy of Hashem. Now they themselves will be crowned with that crown of leadership. And they will feel that even though maybe naturally they don't want to lead the Jewish people, naturally, they don't want to be leaders. Why? Because we said that Malchut is in exile because of the idol worship. The Malchut, the guidance and the guiding and the leading energy is in exile and is disconnected. And so they feel as well that concealment, and they feel themselves as well refusing leadership, places of authority, positions of authority. They're refusing it. Naturally, that's what they feel. But the compassion is overpowering that. They have a compassion that's awakened within them because of what you did. When you sweetened your anger with compassion, you awaken within the tzaddikim that the compassion should overpower that compelling that urge to refuse the leadership, that urge to refuse those positions of authority. And that compassion is now overpowering it, sweetening it, and instead of running away, fleeing from those positions of authority, instead of refusing to lead the Jewish nation, now they have compassion for them. And they say, oh, even though I don't feel like it, I have compassion for them. And you know, they need that leadership, they need that guidance. And it's not comfortable for me. Maybe I'm not worthy. It seems to me that I'm not worthy of it, but their compassion is overpowering those thoughts and those feelings, and they will accept even against their will, they will accept those positions of authority and they will lead the generation. ומרחמים אז נמתק אחרונם שיש בתוך הצדיקים על ידי רחמנות, ואז הרחמנות גובר עליהם, ומרחמים על העולם, ונתרצים בהנהגתו, ומקבלים על עצמן השכרה של ההנהגה, ובזאת הרחמנות הם מנהיגים את העולם בבחינת כי מרחמה מנהגם. And then with this compassion they lead the generation with, and this is described, this experience is described in the pasuk in Yeshaya that says that ki merachama minahagem, which means, for he that has compassion upon them, he shall lead them. For he that has compassion on them shall lead them. So that's what they have now. They have this compassion, and with that compassion, they will lead them. It's the compassion that's compelling them to lead the generation. So what comes from here is that what is going to crown these holy souls with the crown of Malchut, with the crown of leadership to lead the Jewish nation. What's going to crown them with that crown of leadership? It's the compassion that they now have awakened within themselves. That compassion to lead the Jewish people, that compassion will crown them with the leadership. And that compassion was awakened within them because of your compassion, that you sweetened your anger energy. And this just impresses the point of how we are affecting everything in the world. Every person, every one of us, each of us is a world, a small world that includes within it the whole world. And however we live on the inside, within our inner reality, we are affecting the far reaches of the universe. Everything in the universe is dependent on us. The whole universe is dependent on the way we live our life. And so, when we complain about how things are on the outside, that really it doesn't help anyone. The way that we can do anything about it is by looking inside and finding that place on the inside that is the source for that problem on the outside. When we fix it on the inside, then on the outside, it's also fixed automatically and naturally. And when you change yourself, you change the world. That's really the point that we're seeing here. And so then Rabbi Nachman is going to take this and is going to fit it into the story of the treasure chest that we began this Torah with. And we'll see more about that, B'ezrat Hashem, in the next year.